Alrighty then. Okay, everything seems to be working. I hope everyone's having a lovely evening. I kind of messed up and set up my capture cards, even though I'm actually... Can't scratch my nose. Camera's on. Yeah, I kind of accidentally set up my capture card, even though I didn't need it, and had to unplug everything. So that was embarrassing. So sorry about the late start there. Oh, thanks, Roy. I hope you're having a nice evening yourself. Oh, I hope you're having a nice start to the year. Okay, hopefully everything's starting up okay. Hey, Dravel. Well, I'm not sure enjoying's the best way to put it, but it's happening, ain't it? Evening, Amanda. How you doing today? Okay, so I last played this 2 weeks ago, because I skipped last week for various reasons, so... Yeah, okay, so that's the 18th. I believe we were... Oh, hey, Summer B. Joe. Octal. Ah, yep, now I remember. So, of course, the story so far, basically, the chief prosecutor, that's Edgeworth's boss, has been accused of murdering a detective and stuffing the body in Edgeworth's car. Her younger sister has shown up to convince Phoenix to represent her, and Phoenix not having taken a case since the end of the 4th chapter, after Maya left. Hey, Trudeau Queen. Yep, more Phoenix right. The people have spoken. So, yep, guess I've set myself up here to destroy my voice by voicing a Gumshoe. I was wondering about that.
What? The Dancing Blue Badger? It's my masterpiece.
Hey Pony, how you doing?
You made this, Detective Gumshoe? The chief threw together some designs, and I just did my thing, pal.
Nice work.
It's battery powered, so it can go anywhere. There's no switch, so it just dances. Wait, just dances until the batteries die.
Poor Blue Badger. Fated to dance until he drops. Blue Badger panel added to the court record. Ah, that's good, Pony. Yep. Yeah, as people know, I've had a bit of a rough start to the year, but yep, I'm just keeping on my stream schedule because... Yeah, just because. Yeah, you're right, Joe. That thing is pure evil. I mean, doesn't help this it's a cop. Yeah, gotta stay grounded. As my DM says when I'm not being talking in character. Blue Badger panel. A work of art, scare quotes, designed by the Chief of Detectives and created by Detective Gumshoe. The 2 finest minds in the force.
Look, that patrolman is saluting the other guy. He must be a detective. And then I said, hey, you do that, you'll see we'll get cold, buddy.
That's hilarious, sir. I laughed so hard I cried. I guess he wasn't saluting. He was wiping tears from his eyes.
They make a good pair.
Mr. Wright, do you know why patrol cars are painted black and white?
No idea. Why?
Well, I think they're designed after a panda.
A panda?
Not that I have scientific proof, it's just a theory.
Do you mind me asking how you came up with that theory?
It was when I was on a school trip. I saw a patrol car and it came to me. Yeah, that's right. Pony, this is the 5th case that was created specifically for the DS version. So of course it has all that fancy rotating Resident Evil style inventory rotation and everything. We've just been at the zoo, see?
What about zebras? Or did they not have those at your zoo?
Fun fact, in the UK we do actually call them panda cars. But obviously it's not got anything to do with the colour scheme. The banner here is announcing the crime fighting campaign.
Nice slogan.
I wonder if they'll be selling fingerprinting sets.
I don't think it's that kind of campaign.
What family wouldn't want a set at home? It's good for finding out who snuck into the cookie jar.
I think most families can figure that out without the extra help. The detectives in there look pretty busy.
Just imagine, right now, behind those doors, a police drama in action.
Somehow the thought fails to excite me.
I mean, to be fair, I think they call them panda cars because they're getting rarer and everyone wants them to F themselves.
The usual wanted posters are hanging up on the bulletin board here. Do you know this face? If you do, dial 911.
You know, Mr. Wright, I always thought it was kind of funny. I've never seen anyone who looked like the people in the posters. They hardly even look human.
She has a point.
Okay, let's see if we can
I'll give you one word of advice, pal. You better not agree to defend the suspect in this case.
But why not?
Huh? Well, it's just that the chief prosecutor has confessed to the crime. She says she summoned the detective to the prosecutor's office, and she killed him.
But what if she's not telling the truth?
Yes, well, no. Come on, pal. There's plenty of evidence against her.
But what if all the evidence was fake?
Hey, pal, can I speak to you for a second?
Huh? Me?
Why is this little girl so peeved at me?
Hey Max Sting, how you doing?
She's a relative of the suspect.
She's Lana Sky's sister.
Whoa, the chief prosecutor's little sister?
Just please, investigate this case carefully, okay? Scientifically.
Yes, sir. Oh, by the way, you might want to keep your voices down. You don't want to be overheard using words like fakes.
Huh?
It's a sensitive issue with these days.
Wonder what that could be. So, what are you doing here, Detective Gumshoe? Oh, thanks, Max Sting. Yeah, I've mentioned it in a couple of places, but yeah, I don't particularly want to discuss it on stream, so thanks for being understanding.
Me? Well, nothing really. They kicked me out of criminal affairs.
Detective Gumshoe? Wait.
Detective Gumshoe? What did you do this time? What do you mean, this time?
Yeah, you know, I just thought I'd stick with my plans for the day. I mean, having a routine helps me with everything, so yeah. Then what happened? I know things are busy right now. I mean, with my sister's case and all.
It's true. We've never had a chief prosecutor murder anyone before. Only the highest ranked people are being let into criminal affairs now. The lowest ranking guy in there is our chief of detectives. They're not letting any of us rank and file detectives in at all.
None of you?
I know this is an important trial, but isn't that a little odd?
When you found an old family friend passed away in March, you didn't hear about it until a couple of days ago and dove back into Celeste. First time playing. Fair enough.
So anyway, I thought I'd spend the day getting the badger dance down pat.
Isn't there anything else you could be doing?
The chief of police himself is directing this investigation, pal. And Officer Marshall was assigned to the underground parking lot.
Officer Marshall?
Now that I think about it, Emma did seem to know that Marshall guy. A patrolman in charge of a crime scene. It's unheard of, pal.
Okay, let's see what he makes of the evidence then.
Dear detective, here's my attorney's badge.
Yep, back to traffic stops for Gumshoe.
You show this to me every time we meet, pal. Real men show their police badge. Enough said.
I wish I had a badge. Even an ID card would be nice.
Wait. Speaking of ID cards, I found that detective's card, didn't I?
Oh, guess that's a hint.
Detective Gumshoe, what can you tell me about this? Huh? Hey pal, this is a detective's ID card. You can't just keep that, you have to turn it into the police. It's people like you that get me in so much trouble all the time. Meaning Detective Gumshoe must drop his card a lot. Let's see. Bruce Goodman. Goodman. Sounds familiar. Nah, my mistake.
But didn't you work together with him in criminal affairs?
Whoa, now I remember. Bruce Goodman. He's the victim. That's what I thought.
Can you tell us more, Detective Gumshoe?
Hey, that's it. That's the King of Prosecutors Award that Mr. Edgeworth got yesterday. Were you at the award ceremony, Detective Gumshoe? Of course, pal. I got an award for diligence myself.
Congratulations. I was wondering, why is the award a shield? And why is it broken?
Oh, there's a reason. I'll tell you what it is later.
Apparently he's forgotten.
Well, I was proud of Mr. Edgeworth for winning that award. Even with all the naysayers in the prosecutor's office.
Naysayers? Must be because of the rumours.
Found in Mr. Edgeworth's car, stabbed with Mr. Edgeworth's knife, huh? What would drive Chief Prosecutor Sky to do such a thing? Wait, I didn't mean... I mean, sure, of course. Someone else really did it. Someone who must have a grudge against Mr. Edgeworth.
The car and the knife do seem a little too well organised to be a coincidence. Poor Mr. Edgeworth. What could have happened? I mean, to be fair, I suppose the knife was literally in the car, so... Not gonna lie, I obviously remember sort of like... Yeah, sort of who the villain is and what generally happened, but I can't remember the fine details of what was proven, so I can't remember if that came up at all. We have to find out a little bit more about what's going on with Edgeworth. Parking stop? Okay. Okay, that's the same dialogue as with the knife, fair enough. Guess the parking ticket stands in for the car. Okay, explain the badger.
As a detective, I have to keep my mouth shut on that one. I know better than to go blabbing on about things I don't know about.
Okay, so he doesn't know about the very thing you created.
No, I won't want you to do that either. Good.
Okay, Bruce Goodman.
So, this ID card belonged to the victim? He was a detective, like myself. Detective Bruce Goodman.
Don't you think it's strange? I mean, why would the victim's ID card be lying on the ground where we found it?
Well, Detective Goodman should have been at the police department yesterday. There was an evidence transferal for a case he handled 2 years ago.
Evidence transferal? Mr. Edgeworth mentioned that too. But Detective Goodman was killed at the prosecutor's office.
Well, that's the thing. It's hard to say this, but word is, the chief prosecutor's guy called him out there to the parking lot.
Surely it's irrelevant and nothing will come of it. Yeah, you're probably right, Maxting.
And Lana's confessing as much. He's in a tough spot again.
Again?
Oh right, yeah, that last case that worked. Well, it all started with the murder of that defense attorney, Hammond.
But Mr. Edgeworth was found innocent.
Listen, pal, there have always been rumours about Mr. Edgeworth. Forging evidence, making deals with witnesses. Nothing outright, but there are always whispered rumours. Ever since he was accused of murder, no one's whispering, they're practically shouting.
But there's no evidence against him.
Well, Mr. Edgeworth has always had unusually strong ties to the department higher-ups, so it's only natural that people would be suspicious.
I had no idea he was under the gun.
Anyway, this latest case has started a new rumour. People say the only reason he took this case is because he's aiming for the chief prosecutor's position himself.
But what?
But I know the truth, pal. Nobody wants to be the one who has to prosecute the chief prosecutor. Mr. Edgeworth is biting the bullet on this one. He's doing this for all of us. And that's all I know about that. I'm not officially on the case, you know.
Thank you.
Why aren't you handling the case, Detective Gumshoe? We met the guy who is... what's his name? The guy in the parking lot. No, the Officer Marshal. He was appointed directly by the Chief of Police.
Officer Marshal? Is he some sort of kind of Wild West sheriff or something?
No, Jake Marshall's just a regular officer from West LA.
For a moment there, I wasn't sure. Yep, West LA, certainly nowhere in Japan.
For a moment there, I wasn't sure. Look, pal, let me try to make things a little easier for you. Show them this, and then I'll let you examine the crime scene. Maybe.
Detective Gumshoe's letter of introduction added to the court record. Nope. Certainly not West Philadelphia born and raised. Where on the playground he could have spent most of his days. Letter of introduction. Received from Detective Gumshoe. Allows bearer to investigate the crime scene. What's that crossed out?
I'll be surprised if this gets us anywhere. Just how are you supposed to be there, and nobody will look at you twice, pal.
Okay, let's just present that because we can. Actually, no, let's examine it. What's that? What does that say? Something about $20? Amount $20? Oh well, doesn't matter. Wait. Hey, look here. It looks like something's been crossed out. Maybe it was a letter or something to Detective Gumshoe. A bribe? That doesn't really feel like Gumshoe's style. Let's see. Annual bonus, $20. Amazing. I think a couple of zeros are missing. Well, to be fair, it's a bribe from his employers, so you got that right.
No, that sounds about right. At least in that detective's case.
Maybe I should rethink my career as an investigator. Poor Gumshoe. Always having his wages docked. Yep. Let's be thorough. Okay, nothing new on that. Kind of funny he doesn't know anything about the letter he literally gave us, though. Okay, can't go in there. So back we go. February the 22nd, Prosecutor's Office. Underground parking lot.
Looks like the investigation is still going.
Okay, who's got to be getting back to the shop?
Sorry, it looks like I'll be stuck in this pit till the sun sleeps.
I'll see you in my dreams tonight then, baby. Alright, must be her boyfriend. Oh, still here?
Hello.
Why the surprised looks? Didn't I mention? I've got a boyfriend in criminal affairs too.
What happened to the security guard? Hey, what's wrong, Bambina? You're looking like a doggy that's just lost its herd.
Jake Marsh.
Jake Marshall. Strange guards put in charge of a crime scene.
There's something I wanted to ask you.
The scene of the crime. A grave where many have lost their dreams. And me, I watch over them as they sleep, dreaming of the desert's harsh judgment.
He's asleep.
Well, should we show this hopeless case something to catch his interest?
Okay, I think that's... Yep, same results. Okay, let's just show him the letter of introduction then.
Would you mind reading this for me? What's this? I warn ya. Fan letters go right in the spittoon. It's a letter of introduction from Detective Gumshoe. May we investigate? Gumshoe. Ah, that old cow dog.
Whoops. Oh, might as well save.
You holding a birthday party or something?
Huh?
Look where it should say letter of introduction. It says invitation. I think he just miswrote it. Wait, why am I getting all defensive here? No worries. This proves it's from Detective Gumshoe better than a blood test. Guess I'd better let you in then.
Thank you, Officer Marshall.
Oh, that's right. He's a patrolman, not a detective. Which reminds me.
Hey, wait a sec. Isn't a crime scene supposed to be handled by a detective or higher?
Well, folks, the clues are calling. Welcome to our gold strike. Be like the Settler, strike out for lands unknown. Manifest destiny. Let's have a hootenanny.
Note to self. Police investigations are like settling land. Well, Mr. Wright, what do you say?
I'll say I won't be needing this anymore.
Detective Gumshoe's letter of introduction crumbled and discarded. Well, that's a waste of a perfectly good envelope that could have seen a third use. Okay then. Let's get examining. Aha! A ladder!
That's a step ladder.
What's the difference? In scientific terms, please.
Scientific. Huh?
Look at the basic nature of things, Mr. Wright.
This all seems so horribly familiar somehow.
Okay.
What's this? Looks like a note of some sort.
Look, something's written on it. 675, 12, 2.
You're right. Let's see. 67S.
Oh, okay.
12, 2.
There's a name printed on the paper above that. Goodman.
Maybe it fell out of his pocket when he was killed.
Well, so, what does it mean, Mr. Wright?
How am I supposed to know?
Note to self. For deductive reasoning, go to Edgeworth, not Wright. Yeah, that's fair.
I'm sure Edgeworth wouldn't know what this means either.
Goodman's note added to the court record. Victim's memo found in the car trunk. Okay, let's just take a closer look, see if there's anything there. Guess not.
This appears to be the car where the body was found. It looks like the lock on the trunk is busted.
It's been to the year 3000. Okay, Mac. Get some rest then. Thanks for dropping by. The crime took place in the underground parking lot at the prosecutor's office. The body was found in the trunk of my subordinate's car. Quite a luxury car. It screams, I have money to burn.
Yeah, prosecutors get the big bucks.
Is that a tape recorder? Oh.
This looks like a cell phone.
Scientific analysis would suggest that this belonged to the victim. I can't think of anyone else it would belong to.
What's so scientific about that? Should we check it out?
What else are we going to do?
Right, let's check it out.
Oh, thanks, game. This phone's still on the redial screen.
Redial?
Mr. Wright, most phones keep a record of all the calls you made and received. You just press the blue button to display the last number you called. Convenient, isn't it? I'm surprised you didn't know about it.
Sorry to disappoint you. I don't even I know about things like redial.
Huh? Oh, I'm sorry. It's just you never know with people from your generation.
Whatever. Let's just check this phone out.
Yep, that's what it's like to deal with Generation Z kids. I mean, they know you know, but...
Now to see who the owner of this phone called last.
Note to self, a defense attorney doesn't think first, he just pushes the button. Beep! It's the Steel Samurai theme.
Hey, that song. I know that. Hey, what's going on over there?
Beep!
Oh, sorry. I see you, partner. You pressed redial on that there phone, didn't ya? Well, yeah.
Whose phone is this, anyhow? It was on the ground over there.
Whose is it? It belongs to Chief Prospector Sky.
What? It's my sister's? She didn't recognise her sister's phone.
She apparently dropped it when she was taken into custody right after the crime. Look, the last call was made right when the murder occurred. Looks like she was fixing to call someone. Except she only spoke for a few seconds according to this. Who'd she call? No idea. Sorry, partner. Now I got a question for you, partner. I heard a phone ring just now. One of those newfangled ringtones. Oh, that? Oh, I'm sorry. That was my phone.
Yep, and I think this is the moment that confirms that he uses the Steel Samurai theme as his ringtone.
What? Your phone? Yeah, it's kind of strange, but someone called me right as we picked up the other phone with a wrong number. I hope you're not lying. They shoot you for that in Texas, partner.
Says Mr. from West LA.
Uh-oh. I've incited the wrath of the Lone Star Patrolman.
Cell phone added to the court record. Property of Lana Sky. Last call made at 5:18 on the day. Pardon me. On the day of the murder. This rope, is it?
Yeah. They laid the outline of the victim's body.
So wait. The victim must have died when the killer closed the trunk on him.
You've got to be the only person I know who'd come to that conclusion. An oil drum. Looks like it's filled with water.
It's heavy. I can't even budge it.
The drum over there here is on its side.
Wait, I know. I'll hide in here and do a stakeout.
I think you'd probably just get arrested. In fact, you may not even be able to hide in the drum to get arrested.
What? I'm not suspicious. Sorry about that, I had a bit of a brain fart there. Okay, so what have we got? Guess you should ask Marshall about the Okay, guess he can't be asked. Oh, yes he can.
Officer Marshall, could you tell us more about the victim? Good men always die young. Remember that, partner. Could you be a little more specific?
Bruce Goodman. He was a detective, right?
Well, ain't you a feisty doggy there now? Detective Goodman was stabbed here at 5:15. The smiling Madonna told me the tale.
I think he means the witness, Miss Angel Starr.
One stab to the chest, fine piece of work. This here's the autopsy report.
Goodman's autopsy report added to the court records. Death due to loss of blood, one knife wound, died within an hour and a half of 4 p.m. Was my sister involved with the victim in any way?
Funny you should mention that, Bebina. Chief Prospector Sky and Detective Goodman had nothing in common at all.
Nothing in common?
They apparently worked together on a case a few years back, so there's no motive. Goodman wasn't a particularly gifted detective. That's one reason why I didn't do much work with the Chief Prospector.
Okay, so it's well established I can't do a cowboy voice. But my sister called the victim here on the day of the murder, right? Here to this parking lot?
So it seems, like calling an unarmed man to a shootout at high noon. I don't mean any offense, but Officer Marshall, you're a patrolman, right? Not a detective. You're calling me out? They shoot you for that in Texas. Huh? I was one of them fancy shoot detectives till 2 years ago, to tell you the truth. Oh, really? Now he tells me.
Yeah. To be fair, I think that's pretty much what he's going for, Derivel. I mean, I think there's actually a picture of him from a few years ago, and that shows he literally inherited the detective gimmick from his older brother, so... But you're a patrolman now, so how can you be in charge of a crime scene?
Nothing gets by you, does it, Bambina? So why are you in charge? No reason. We're just short on hands right now. I'm keeping an eye out on him in the meantime.
That's odd, though. Detective Gumshoe was saying he had nothing to do. Nothing important, at least.
He is nothing but a sad old cowdog that can't find his tail. Maybe because he runs with that Edgeworth, eh? Edgeworth? That cowdog's been kicked out of this cattle run by order of the Chief of Police. Just he don't realise it yet. Detective Gumshoe, kicked out of the investigation.
So there's no connection between Detective Goodman and my sister?
That's correct, but there's a goldmine of evidence against her. And the prospector tomorrow is none other than Edgeworth himself. I'm afraid your sister's fate is decided, Bambina. Many condolences.
Officer Marshall.
Yeah, Bambina?
How can you say that? You and my sister, you were...
Is there something between this cop and her sister that I don't know about? I apologise, Bambina. Something must have gone to me. Maybe it's that dry wind that's blown through the prospector's office. Dry wind or ill wind, someone's up to something here. But who?
Office atmosphere. Whoa, it's getting hot in here. So put on your cowboy clothes.
Suspicions about Mr. Edgeworth have been flying around for nearly 2 years now. Forge evidence and arrange testimonies, you mean? He is unbeatable because he did whatever it took to win. Unbeatable, that is, until he met you.
But rumours are just rumours, aren't they? These are prosecutors we're talking about. Evidence is everything to them.
If you follow the rumours about Edgeworth to their source, you find one person. But they're off limits. Untouchable, you might say. One person? Who? Hate to say this, but it's your sister, Bambina. Chief Prospector Lena Sky.
What? My sister?
Edgeworth couldn't rustle all those cattle by himself. So people load their guns with bullets, some people load them with deals. What you're saying that Edgeworth was making deals to win trials? Where there's gunshots, there's bound to be bullets. That's what the old timers say. There's a big old secret hidden around here somewhere, everyone knows it. Is that why Detective Gumshoe was taken off the case? Did they target him because he was closest to Edgeworth?
So, well, how are we doing, Mr. Wright?
I guess we've got some clues. We have an autopsy report, a note from the victim, and a cell phone.
So you think we'll be okay?
Well, the only thing still bothering me is that Lana is confessing to the crime. She says she did it.
No problem. I can guarantee that she's not the criminal.
Oh, by the way, Emma.
Yes?
I know that song that your phone plays when it rings.
What?
Beep. It's the Steel Samurai theme song, isn't it? A popular TV show for kids.
Okay, to be fair, I think is it the second game that I can't remember if it's the second or third game, but yeah, that basically confirms that Phoenix uses the Steel Samurai ring, Themis' ringtone.
The phone that rang earlier wasn't mine. It was yours. At 5:18, just after the murder took place, your sister called you, didn't she, Emma?
I'm sorry.
Can you tell me what you talked about?
She hung up right away.
I see.
Cell phone updated in the court record. Last call made to her sister Emma at 5:18 on the day of the murder.
A detective is murdered, and the suspect is the top prosecutor at the district. I've got a bad feeling about this. Like, maybe I still don't know everything that went on here.
To be continued. Okay, so that's 45 minutes in, so we can do a bit more. But before we continue... I need to remember I need to get myself a emoji for this. February the 23rd, 9:34 AM, District Court, Defendant Lobby Number 2. How did the investigation go yesterday, Mr. Wright?
Frankly, there is still a lot of grey areas.
Or rather, the whole thing's one big grey area. Don't worry about me, no matter what the outcome. I'm ready to accept my fate. I believe in you, sis. Mr. Wright, let me offer you a word of advice.
Yes?
A defense attorney should never believe their client. The defendant is called to trial because they are suspected of wrongdoing. Never forget that.
Miss Skye, you remind me a lot of Mia. But there is one decisive difference between you and her.
And that is?
You're not a defense attorney.
I believe it's almost time for the trial. Good luck, Mr. Wright.
My first trial without a Fae helping me. No one's going to bail me out this time. I'll be alone in there, so I have to discover the truth all by myself.
He's got to reach out, hold out. Let's do it, Mr. Wright. I'll be with you the whole way. Ah, thank you, suspiciously similar substitute assistant. February the 23rd, 10 AM. District Court, courtroom number 9.
Court is now in session for the trial of Miss Lena Skye. The defence is ready, Your Honour.
The prosecution has been ready for a while, Your Honour.
Edgeworth. Edgeworth, you sexy jerk. It's been 2 months, but I haven't been in a courtroom since his trial.
I hope that personal feelings will not be a part of the proceedings today, Mr. Wright. I will choose the path I think is right, regardless of what those around me might say. The judgment to be made here is in our hands, not those of anyone else.
Very well, Mr. Edgeworth. Your opening statement, please.
Chief Prosecutor Lana Sky has committed an unpardonable crime. Not only this, but it shows rash enough to commit it in the prosecutor's office lot. Wow, he's much more forceful in person. I suddenly feel like confessing to everything. However, she'll now pay for her rashness with her life. There was a witness to her crime. A professional witness.
Well, then call your first witness, Mr. Edgeworth.
The prosecution calls its first witness, Miss Angel Starr, to the stand.
The cough-up queen. Haven't I seen you somewhere?
You ordered the caviar lunch, right?
Oh, caviar. I've never eaten caviar before.
The judge is really wolfing it down. And for you, I have a Fiesta Bowl.
Thanks.
Will the witness state her name and profession? And you, sir, did you order the fingerprints lunchbox? It is too early for lunch. Your name and profession, please. Well, Your Honour, how does it taste?
So this is why everyone raves about caviar. It's so tasty it hurts. I always thought caviar would taste like pickled tapioca.
What the heck does pickled tapioca taste like? Name, profession, now. Me? The name is Angel Starr. Don't go forgetting it. I find myself running Lunchland these days. Is that what you wanted to say, Mr. Edgeworth?
Very well, witness.
Please describe the incident to us.
The prosecution will wait. I'm not finished eating.
Hurry it up.
Very well. Mr. Edgeworth. As you know, we usually call on the police to provide a description of the crime.
Your Honour, as Mr. Edgeworth has said to the court, I am a professional. You'd think being a professional witness would be a bad thing, but there we go.
What exactly does that mean?
Until 2 years ago, Miss Angel Starr was a special investigator with the police. She was a first-rate homicide detective. What? Miss Starr was a detective?
Aha! I know who you are. Cough up.
Cough up, Queen Angel Starr, Your Honour. Long time no see.
Very well. You may continue with your description, Miss Starr.
Just who is this lady? If I might have the court's attention over here. The parking lot at the prosecutor's office is divided into 2 blocks. A block is for the prosecutor's office personnel. B block is for visitors and clients. A chain divider separates the 2 blocks.
I suppose that's to keep the visitors from taking up prosecution spaces, yes?
The crime took place by a car at the back of A block in the car's trunk. The killer stabbed the victim with this knife and went to drive the body out. Unfortunately for her, There was a witness, and an arrest was made on the spot.
And who was this valiant witness?
Why, it was me, Your Honour. Parking lot floor plans added to the court record. The parking lot with Edgeworth's car.
Witness, what do you see at the very moment of the crime?
Of course, Your Honour. Immediately after that, I apprehended the chief prosecutor.
It seems rather cut and dry, doesn't it? Well, Mr. Wright? I can't agree on principle, Your Honour.
It seems some poor losers are unwilling to accept the truth, Your Honour. Shall I proceed to crush what little hope they have remaining?
If you can, then give them your worst, Miss Starr. Wait, are they really talking about me?
Witness's account. Somehow, I always knew a day like this would come. I was on my way to deliver a lunchbox to my boyfriend when I sensed something. Perhaps it was my finely honed detective intuition at work. Through the wire fence, I saw the chief prosecutor standing next to a garish car. The chief prosecutor was holding a knife in her right hand. Then she thrust the pointy tip of the knife into Detective Goodman's chest. That's because she specified the pointy tip. Otherwise we might have thought it was the handle.
Bringing your lunchbox to your boyfriend. How touching.
As you can see, there is no room for doubt.
Key point of your testimony seems to be nothing other than the pointing of the knife, which you saw being stabbed into Detective Goodman.
So, how does it feel to be so utterly crushed?
I'm still thinking about that.
It's merely a fresh wound, Mr. Wright.
Very well, Mr. Wright. You may cross-examine the witness.
I really should add a posture check option to the points.
How do you know?
I respect the prosecutor's basic abhorrence of crime, yet their methods are ugly and twisted. Twisted methods always lead to tragedy. The lunch lady's uninformed opinion is duly noted. Given that they are used to erasing inconvenient evidence at their whim, killing off a detective that knew too much is merely an extension of that. Miss Starr, do you have something personal against prosecutors? I felt that I had found my dream job when I became an investigator. And if I hadn't been laid off by those prosecutors over there, I'd still be one.
Laid off? She was fired?
To me, prosecutors are nothing more than worms. That said, I am a pro, as you know. My testimony is unbiased and flawless.
Very well. You may continue, Miss Starr.
This boyfriend, he's the detective. Not that boyfriend, the security guard.
That boyfriend? You have several?
Yes, this boyfriend, that boyfriend, and the other boyfriend. Care to join? The yet another boyfriend position is still open for applicants.
I'll stick with the lunches, thanks.
Note to self, the judge had to think before replying. The security guard room is in the lot, in A block. It's up on the second level, as you can see from everything from there.
That would be the room with security on the sign. Incidentally, did you bring your lunchboxes by car?
Since I'm a visitor now, I parked in B block. So she was in B block when she witnessed the crime?
You sensed something, so you're saying you had a premonition of the murder?
It felt like, how would you say... Oh yes. It's like the feeling you get when you view a pumpkin chock full of seeds.
I have no idea what that means. Speaking of detective's intuition, wasn't the victim Mr. Bruce Goodman also a detective?
Yes, well, he was like a young cheese.
A young cheese?
A pale white cheese, not yet tangy with experience on the streets. A greenhorn.
Then I must be a yellowed must be hard, yellowed, and sharp as a tack.
Yeah, with the odor of an old cheese to match. In any case, there in the lot, I felt something stirring in the back of my mind.
By garish car, you mean?
Mr. Edgeworth's car, yes.
Mr. Edgeworth's?
Incidentally, the knife with which the victim was stabbed was also Mr. Edgeworth's. Wasn't it? Indeed it was.
What an odd case this is. And the person you saw, you're sure it was the defendant?
I saw her for no further than 30 feet away. I'm certain it was her.
If she's telling the truth, we're doomed.
Let's just do what we can. If we don't have any proof, we can always nitpick.
Witness, in your testimony you clearly stated the following. Prosecutors are nothing more than worms. Ergo, you're a biased witness.
You might want to keep those silly opinions to yourself in the future, rookie.
Huh? Rookie?
Unless you're willing to risk the consequences of dousing me. Our Friday Lucky Fritter. Crispy on the outside, chewy on the inside.
That was inspiring.
I believe I've heard that tagline elsewhere. You could cry plagiarism. I may be relegated to the lowly post of lunch lady, but my instincts are honed.
A photograph? You took this?
The moment I witnessed the crime, my reflexes took over and snap. I took a picture. In fact, one of my lunchboxes is rigged with a camera.
I suppose that's more exciting than hanging it around your neck.
Witness, why am I only seeing this photograph just now? You think I'd show it to you, a prosecutor? Think again. My boyfriend works in the photography division of the criminal affairs.
Well, this is most certainly the defendant.
Crime photo added to the court record. The moment of the crime is photographed by Angel Star.
Uh-oh, that is unmistakably lay in the sky.
So what was the defendant doing at the time?
Tell me more about this knife that the suspect was carrying.
Well, I'd say the blade was about 4 inches long. Is that right, Mr. Edgeworth? It is your knife, after all. Yes, that's about right. Prosecutors are by nature well versed in the location of a man's vital organs. I'm sure it was easier than boiling an egg for my egg salad surprise set.
You can't testify to her ability to kill an egg. I mean a person.
Perhaps a chicken salad set would have been a better metaphor. So, the defendant was holding a knife. What then?
Tell the court why you didn't try to stop this crime. You did say raise a knife to strike, no? The defense has a point.
Unfortunately, by the time I realised what was going on, it was already too late.
Too late?
Yes, the next moment, the chief prosecutor brought down the murder weapon.
I see.
It's only a flesh wound, Mr. Wright. We can make it.
You said that before. Anything else?
Scientifically speaking, Miss Starr's testimony is flawless.
Sounds pretty fatal to me.
What do we do? Is this it? Is my sister guilty?
Let's just keep our heads cool and press the witness a bit, shall we? For some reason, having her panicking next to me makes me calmer.
Don't smile like that. Right. So let's just see what we've got here. Nothing about this photo. I suppose there's already bloodstains on it. I wonder if I can use that. Wait.
And you witnessed this? You saw Miss Sky stab the victim with the knife?
As I've already said, yes. I swear it's on my finest salmon swirl lunch.
I'm sure that is a fine lunch. But isn't that odd? Look at this photograph. This is the photograph you took of the very moment of the crime, is it not? Then why is Miss Sky not holding a knife? Mr. Edgeworth, your thoughts?
Objection. In red, apparently.
That had to be the weakest objection ever, Edgeworth.
Yet, it was still stronger than your ever-feeble mind, Mr. Wright.
What do you mean, Mr. Edgeworth?
This photograph was not taken the moment before the stabbing. This was taken the moment after the stabbing.
And how can you tell that?
Blood spatter.
Huh?
See the dark crimson stains on the chief prosecutor's coat?
But it's a black and white photograph. Ah, yes. It's hard to tell, but this could be blood.
Well, Mr. Wright, I see no problem here.
No problem, except you.
Mr. Wright, are you just going to sit there and take that kind of abuse?
You got a better idea?
Save. Objection.
Wait, that contradicts what the witness said in her testimony, namely that she took the picture the moment she witnessed the crime.
Well, it seems that I was slightly unclear. My apologies.
That's it.
If you run out of lunch, you order seconds. Problem solved. If you don't like it, try ordering the jumbo-sized lunch from the get-go. Good advice. I'm not sure I understand it, but good advice. I didn't have time to stop her. Prosecutor Skye was cold, calculating, like a robot. She killed without pain or remorse. It was a premeditated murder.
Premeditated? How do you know?
Look at the Chief Prosecutor's hand in the photograph.
Well, are those gloves?
Surgical gloves, made of hidden rubber most likely. Why would she have those on? If it was not premeditated, she would not be wearing those gloves.
These gloves do seem to tell a tale of premeditation.
Premeditated murder, a serious offence.
Witness, add this to your testimony.
Okay.
What if she was just in the habit of wearing gloves, like driving gloves?
The gloves were admitted as evidence when the defendant was arrested. They were rubber gloves of the kind used for autopsies. In other words, when the Chief Prosecutor came to the crime scene, she came to do murder. It's the only possible conclusion one can make. Everything was planned. It was a premeditated crime.
Impressive. I'm sorry they took you off the force, Miss Starr. This is bad. She's got them thinking it was all planned. If she can prove this claim, the trial's already over. I've got to think of a way to show that this wasn't premeditated.
It's only a flesh wound, Mr. Wright. We can make it. Okay, so... I need to find evidence that proves that it wasn't premeditated. Suppose I could argue that she didn't bring the knife with her.
Witness, do you know what this is?
Are you trying to test me? I sell box lunches for a living, you know. That's a knife. The knife. The knife that was in Mr. Edgeworth's trunk. Indeed, it's my knife.
What's with this case? The bloody murder weapon, a red car, all belonging to the prosecutor there? The defendant is the chief prosecutor for the district, right?
Mummy, prosecutors bad people.
The defense has a request. We ask that the witness provide accurate testimony.
What's that, Rookie?
In your testimony, you stated that Lena Skye planned this murder, and that's why she was wearing those special gloves. Seems like a natural conclusion to me. The gloves do indicate planning. However, why would she not also prepare the most important thing, the murder weapon?
Everyone enjoying the stream so far? Oh.
This knife just happened to be in the trunk of that car. Ladies and gentlemen, if you're going to plan a murder, you don't forget the weapon.
Where?
Order! Order! Order!
I'd miss saying that.
Great, now the tide's turning in our favour.
Great show, Mr. Wright. My sister's as good as free. There's the finger. Right. I believe the next lunch you'll be eating is humble pie.
What?
I hope you weren't deluding yourself into thinking that the tide has turned. Not over such a trifling detail.
But this shows a hole in the whole premeditated murder theory.
Bah! The prosecution could care less if it was premeditated or not. The only one who seems to care is the lunch lady over there. The defendant, Lena Skye, murdered a detective with a knife. That is the only thing the prosecution needs to prove. Nothing else. Very good, Mr. Prosecutor. I suppose you think you're clever now. But you know as well as I do that she planned on killing him. It was planned. If it wasn't, what would she have been wearing?
I believe I'd like to hear your testimony again.
Witness, please tell us only what you saw, not what you thought. How dare you? My powers of deduction are not to be underestimated.
Really now.
Angel's deduction. Lena Skye intended to murder Detective Goodman. That's why she called the victim all the way to the prosecutor's office. I'm sure the chief prosecutor had a grudge against the victim. Nothing else could drive that human machine to plunge the knife in again and again.
The victim was summoned from the police department to the prosecutor's office. It does sound a lot like premeditation, doesn't it?
So if I ordered a pizza, does that mean I'm planning to kill the delivery boy?
In any case, the defence may now cross-examine the witness.
Okay, my voice is starting to go, so I'll just get past this section and call it there. I mean, obviously streaming's helped a bit, but I'm not in the best of headspaces.
You've said that, you haven't told us how you know.
That's what I'm about to tell you, Rookie.
I believe what she just said was a mere prelude to the story she is about to tell. Try not to interrupt her again.
Rookie. Never interrupt a storyteller. It's like putting a bun out of the oven half-baked.
Something's half-baked here, alright, and it's you.
Try not to confuse the defence witness. They're not very quick on their feet. Now, why do you believe the suspect had intentions to murder the victim? Her actions speak for themselves.
You have no proof that Miss Skye caught him there.
You have no proof she didn't.
Mr. Edgeworth, thoughts?
There's no record of a call made on the defendant, Miss Lana Skye's phone. She might have written him a letter.
Come on, you could have tried public phone first, at least.
In any case, the victim came to the prosecutor's office where he was murdered. Oops, wrong voice, sorry.
I'm sure he had a reason to be there. Witness?
Why do you think it was the suspect who summoned the victim that day?
What kind of grudge?
Well, I wouldn't know that.
Of course you don't, because she didn't have a grudge.
Rookie. I have a lunchbox here. Prettiest Pony loves this character, and not just because of her cleavage. Yeah, she does have... yeah. I seem to recall she has sort of an interesting motivation for her testimony here, and I do kind of like the whole sexy detective, but now she's selling lunches with the same enthusiasm. It's chic. I have a lunchbox here. Now what's inside?
How am I supposed to know?
See? We agree there is a lunchbox here, but we don't know what's inside. A person's life is like a lunchbox with pretzels. Don't you agree?
I get it. That's why my lunch was so salty. This judge isn't very good with metaphors.
The suspect had a grudge against Detective Goodman. Will you tell us your basis for thinking this? It's simple.
Human machine. That's a contradiction.
Objection!
Please. Can't you find fault with something of substance, Mr. Wright? Note to self. Mr. Edgeworth's eye smells like citrus fruit. Oh, and you like the lunchbox gimmick. That's fair enough. Yeah, it's quite a good sort of choice for the animation style, really.
You say again and again. How many times did she stab him exactly?
We often say chop it to 1,000 pieces, but we don't actually mean 1,000 pieces. What difference does it make if the deed is done?
How come she's getting mad at me? Let's just say she stabbed him several times and leave it at that. Leave it at that. This is a murder case, people.
Mr. Wright, you should speak up if you have an objection, you know.
Miss Starr has turned out to be as short-tempered as she looked when we met her. Challenging her abilities as a detective really sets her off.
The short wick burns out the fastest. It's a scientific fact. This judge sucks. Not so hot take. That's right, Pony. He's not a great judge, is he?
I wonder, wouldn't it depend on the size of the candle? I mean, add more wax and even a really short wick would burn longer.
Obviously, more scientific testing is required. Okay, so I need to present a contradiction. Back to the first save slot. Some people use the same one, but I like to cycle. You feel like Wright is being pedantic there. All other things being equal, is it reasonable to assume? Yeah, that's fair. Okay, so we do have the autopsy report which confirms... Yep, 1 knife wound.
Objection!
You should say that she stabbed him again and again, but you couldn't have witnessed that.
Are you testing me? Then I'll test you. With my moss surprise. I'm afraid the moss is growing under our feet as well as we wait, Miss Starr.
What do you mean?
I shouldn't have to explain this, but take a look. The autopsy report states that death was due to a loss of blood from 1 stab wound.
Aha! You're right. Good show, Mr. Edgeworth.
What a hunk! He's my hero, really.
What about my objection? No one noticed.
Poor Mr. Wright.
Well, witness?
You got the crime scene set, right?
Oh, thanks.
I always believed that no one could ever mistake ketchup for blood. But now I realise such mistakes are possible. So, you're saying you mistook something for blood? When she lifted her knife, I thought I saw blood at her breast. Splattered blood from her victim. That's why I thought she must have stabbed him at least twice.
Then tell us what you thought you saw was blood. Testify.
Her red muffler looked like blood to me. That's how ghastly the whole scene was. Yep, step right up and testify.
Red muffler.
Yes, like a scarf. The chief prosecutor always wears one around her neck. So she can easily be hanged at a moment's notice, I suppose.
She's right. Miss Sky was wearing a red scarf, wasn't she? But wait, isn't it odd that you mistook that for splattered blood? Well, people often mistake my beard for a bib. Judge with a bib? That's why this place feels so much like a kindergarten sometimes.
Actually, I do think I saw some traces of blood on her chest. However, your autopsy report is clear on this matter. There was only one knife wound.
Apparently Miss Starr isn't entirely sure of her own testimony.
Mr. Wright, this is our chance.
Chance for what, I wonder?
Miss Starr has turned out to be a short... Okay, back to that again. Okay, what contradicts the appearance red muffler then? Is it in the photo? Ah, she's not wearing it. That was easy.
Objection! Objection!
Miss Starr, I demand an explanation.
The witness is clearly not suited for detective work. What? The suspect was not wearing a scarf or a muffler of any kind when she stabbed the victim. And you've proved it yourself, with this photograph. Huh? But that can't be. Only a professional lunch lady could be so utterly clueless. Congratulations, perhaps you finally found your true calling in life. Wow. Edgeworth is not holding back here, is he? Pardon me?
Harsh words, but good.
Edgeworth for that class contempt. Yeah. I mean, he is literally a cop, so... Well, not literally a cop, but he's figuratively a cop. In the end, Mr. Edgeworth prevails.
What was my objection? Chopped liver?
But it was there, a scarf. No, not that, but something red, really. Well now, where were we? The witness has given us no entertaining interlude, but back to business. Prosecutors are just another flavour of cop. Yeah, that's fair. What?
Very well, witness. Continue your testimony.
I mean, to be fair, sir, the lady's also a cop, but, you know. I mean, pretty much everyone but the judge is a cop in here.
You saw the crime and apprehended the suspect. Tell us about that.
Very well. I do remember some things accurately, at least.
Ultimately, we couldn't shake the most important part of her testimony.
The most important part?
The part where your sister stabs the victim.
That is quite important. Defense attorneys aren't really cops, at least in Japan. Yeah, fair enough, I suppose.
This testimony might just be the moment of truth.
Okay, we'll do this one and I'll call the stream there then. Apprehending the suspect. After the murder, the suspect attempted to run behind a partition off to her side. I quickly caught her, explained her rights to her, and arrested her on the spot. Ah yes, when I arrested her, she mentioned the muffler. That's what had me confused in my earlier testimony. The chief prosecutor made to escape, but against Angel Star, resistance is futile.
You are quite determined about this scarf, aren't you?
I strike like a snake and bite like a cobra. That's me, Angel Star.
That wasn't a very good metaphor. First of all, a cobra is a type of snake.
Don't bother me with the details unless you want to get bitten.
No thanks.
Note to self. Mr. Wright is weak against poisonous snake bites. Okay. Mr. Wright's weak against poison. What type would that make him? The chief prosecutor tried to resist, but her efforts were in vain. She knocked my hand aside, kicked over an oil drum. Ah, grass type. Yeah, I could see Phoenix as grass type.
An oil drum? Hard to imagine.
Oh, she's beautiful but deadly. A predator, this one. A leopard woman. Rah.
Very well, Mr. Wright. You'll cross-examine him, if you will.
Yeah, sorry, my voice is starting to go. Similar energy to...
Ah, my one weakness. Loss of blood.
That's fair.
So, where's this partition on the floor plans?
I'm sure she means the wall next to the car.
That's right. There was a wall there, about 6 feet high.
She was obviously trying to hide herself. Quite a natural thing for a criminal to do.
And what do you do then? You say quickly, were you close to the suspect?
As I just said, I was only 30 feet away from her the whole time.
Maybe I should press her for more details.
Yeah, there was a bloody fence in the way.
I'd like to see this on the floor plans just to be safe. The Lunchland car was...
She was a visitor, thus she was parked in B block.
So you witnessed the murder from here? That would make it about 30 feet from the car, yes? Is that correct, Miss Starr?
Yes, that's right.
But there was a chain link fence right in front of you.
I went over it, of course.
Amazing! The cough-up queen lunch lady athlete, indeed.
It would have taken her a little time to climb over the fence, so she couldn't have gotten to my sister that fast.
Yeah, that fence was about 9 feet high too. So how did Miss Sky not get away?
Maybe she took the thief subclass.
She mentioned the muffler. What exactly did she say?
If I remember exactly, I would have told you in my testimony.
Cheeky.
Dark is weak to fighting, but immune to psychic. Ah. To be fair, I think fighting's weak to dark as well. Oh. Anyway, all I heard her say was the word muffler.
Just that one word?
So, what you heard wasn't the suspect talking to you, but someone else. Yes, the chief prosecutor was talking on her phone.
Her phone? She can't mean...
Fighting resists dark. Could have sworn it was the other way round. Then again, maybe I'm wrong. But maybe it's I was thinking of normal being weak to dark.
By phone? Do you mean this cell phone discovered at the crime scene?
Yes, ultimately.
Ultimately?
My memory. It's like a salmon heading upstream, you see.
No, the court doesn't see, mister.
The chief prosecutor first attempted to use the phone hanging on the wall.
On the wall?
That's right.
Wait, that's right. Near the car, there was an emergency phone on the wall.
Apparently, it was out of order.
And so she used her cell phone. Wait, and so she used her cell phone?
Indeed. The emergency phone was out of order that day. Ah, yeah, rock, paper, scissors. Fair enough.
Good witnessing, witness. Good witnessing. Wabham to good testifying. You should of course add this to your testimony.
The things I do to please this rookie defense attorney. Lala's cell phone updated to the court record.
Do you think you could restate your testimony for the court? Aha! I was going to ask the same thing.
I'll only say this one time, so listen close, rookies. The chief prosecutor stabbed the victim and ran behind the partition. Then she picked up the emergency phone on the wall, but it was out of order. So she pulled out her own cell phone out of her pocket. And during that time, you
And during that time, you climbed over the chain link fence.
And then when I boldly grabbed her arm, the chief prosecutor hung up her phone.
And you saw her doing this?
What is it, Mr. Wright? The chief... Okay, we'll just press on this.
She made to escape. Can you be more specific?
She brushed aside my hand and ran. It was a terrible sight to see, like a dollop of lard on a pâté of foie gras. Foie gras.
Huh?
She even kicked over an oil drum at me.
An oil drum? There was an oil drum lying on its side at the scene of the crime.
But it's strange.
What's that?
If she wanted to escape, why didn't she run for the other way?
The other way? Ah, the parking lot entrance.
That's right. It doesn't make any sense that she had run from behind the partition to the oil drums. Excellent. More mysteries.
I wish we could solve a few before finding more, though. So Miss Sky tried to run.
I'm sorry my sister is so suspicious, Mr. Wright.
Not as sorry as I am.
But she didn't do it. You have to believe me. Okay. She tried the phone on the wall, but had to use her cell phone instead. Okay, so that's the one that was added, so that must be where the clue is. Okay.
Objection!
Your Honor, that statement contradicts this evidence. It does? I don't see anything contradictory. Huh? Really? Objection overruled. Try to think before you make accusations, Mr. Wright. Oops, that didn't go so well.
Okay, let's just load that. Okay, so I need the needed to unlock that before I updated the testimonies, so it must be there.
Objection!
Miss Starr, I have to conclude you have a personal grudge against Miss Lena Skye.
Objection!
Pardon me? The witness is a former detective. Her testimony is unmarred by personal bias. Well, who'd have thought you'd be my knight in shining armour, prosecutor? You who, together with the chief of prosecutor, kicked me out 2 years ago.
Well, Miss Starr, this is a fatal contradiction with your testimony. How do you explain this?
I don't know what you're talking about. Mess with me, and I'll make you cough it all up.
Let's look at the floor plans. You said you witnessed the crime from this point. However, if that's true, you couldn't possibly have seen Miss Skye making that phone call.
That was it.
I believe you see what I'm getting at. That emergency phone was on the backside of this petition. If indeed you're in B block, you couldn't have seen it. Order? Order? What's the meaning of this? It's simple, Your Honor. She's not coughing up lunch. She's coughing up lies. The filthy lunch lady lies.
Objection!
That's quite a claim, Mr. Wright. Perhaps you allow me a question. Tell us exactly what lie this witness has told the court.
Here's where the counterattack begins. I can't afford to get this wrong. The witness lied about.
Okay, what did she lie about? What she saw? Where she saw it? Or the order of events?
Miss Sky tried to use the emergency phone, but it was out of order. What is significant about this fact? Nothing. Therefore, it would be pointless for Miss Star to lie about it. Pointless to lie? I see. But say the witness did actually see Miss Sky using the emergency phone. It would mean Miss Star witnessed the crime from a different location.
A different location? Now that's a pointless lie, if I ever heard one.
Before you call my lie pointless, at least let me tell it. Let me ask a question to our clever wordsmith, Mr. Wright. Just where was the witness when she saw the crime? All the testimony we've heard until now points to one direction. In one direction.
I mean, to be fair, One Direction have been known to engage in people trafficking.
The place from where Miss Star witnessed the crime was.
Guess it must have been the security room.
This is the only place where she could have been. The security guard room?
Indeed, the security guard room in the underground parking lot is well positioned. It is built on the second floor, so you can see the entire lot.
Should have been able to see the emergency phone from there. But why there? There are other places where she could have seen the phone. Not in this case, Your Honour. The witness, not being part of the prosecutor's office, couldn't park in the A block. The only place where she could have seen the crime in the back of the petition is here. I remember in your testimony you said you brought a lunch to your boyfriend in the security guard room, yes? Well, Miss Starr?
How many years have I been getting the better of men? To think that the tables could be turned. Today, a man has gotten the better of Angel Star.
Order? Order? Witness? What have you done? You used to be a detective. You should know better.
I'm not turning back. The guilty will be punished, and I'll do what I must to make sure justice prevails.
Guilty? Is she talking about Miss Sky?
Mr. Wright, doesn't this strike you as odd? Why did Miss Star lie? It doesn't make sense.
Huh?
She could have just said she saw the crime from the security guard station. It wouldn't change anything.
Exactly.
This photograph tells all. It was the defendant who stopped the victim. That truth still stands.
It still stands. I disagree, Mr. Edgeworth.
What?
If a witness is found to be lying, they're guilty of perjury. She knows this. She wouldn't risk that without a good reason. So, tell us what that reason was, Mr. Wright. Huh? Me? Who else?
Mr. Wright, let's review what we know.
Miss Starr witnessed the crime from the security guard station. But she lied and said she saw it from B block. It must make a vital difference, but what would change?
Okay. It must have been the angle.
Why, the angle at which she saw the crime occur would change. The angle? What do you mean? Well, the security guard station is on the second floor, and, she would have sort of more of a 3D view of the crime. And this is important. Why? Perhaps you'd like to reconsider, Mr. Wright?
Mr. Wright, let's review what we know. Okay, let's try that again. So it must have been the distance.
It changed the distance between her and the scene of the crime.
Objection!
My condolences, Mr. Wright, but one look at the floor plans is quite clear. The distance between the scene of the crime and the guard station is at 30 feet. I don't see how that would change what she could see.
Objection!
What she saw is not in question here. What matters is the time it would take us to reach the scene of the crime. Miss Starr, you witnessed the crime from the security guard station. Now, how long did it take you to go from there to the scene of the crime where you arrested Miss Skye?
Okay, so now I was going to bring up the fact she clearly photographed the crime from the other side of a chicken wire fence.
Well, witness?
You.
Yes.
You're the squid wheels, right?
The quality of my lunches has gone from low to inedible.
I was bringing a PB&J lunch with fresh boysenberry jam to my boyfriend.
Boysenberry for the boyfriend.
Okay, that voice went a bit weird. He wasn't in the station, so I waited. I witnessed the crime from a glass-walled station. New. And before I knew what I was doing, I found myself running towards the scene, but the door was locked. I couldn't open it. Zoom. That's why I had to go through the visitors' parking in B block.
That's quite a detour.
It probably took me at least 5 minutes to get to the scene of the crime.
5 minutes?
Okay, I cannot do the judge's voice right now.
This changes things considerably.
But it was that woman over there in the defendant's chair who stabbed him. I know it. I have photographic evidence. I swear it. I swear it on my finest plastic spork.
You have a point. And the spork is a wonderful invention.
Would you like another caviar lunch?
Absolutely. Uh-oh.
Mr. Wright, you have to do something.
Do I have any evidence to stop this?
Good question.
Objection!
5 minutes between witnessing of the murder and the arrest. Think about it. You can make a pasta in that amount of time, if you like it al dente.
I've got lunch boxes that tie pasta in knots, rookie.
5 minute blank. Isn't that strange?
Strange?
If you were a criminal, what would you do with the 5 minutes, Your Honor? Well, I guess I'd flee the scene. Hey, don't get the wrong idea. I didn't kill anyone. But you have the instincts of a killer. You would run, but this time was different. Miss Skye dawdled at the scene of the crime. She even had a picture taken. No true criminal would act this way. It's inconceivable.
I don't think you know what that word means.
Well then, it seems we come to the end of this testimony. The witness has a grudge against the defendant, and a blank in her testimony. Mr. Edgeworth, is the next witness ready to go?
Unfortunately, I appear to have overestimated this witness on account of her professional history. We did it! We screwed that can shut, Mr. Wright. Oh, chat connected for a while. Sorry, that's annoying. Well, I'm going to wrap up I think I'll wrap up at the end of this chapter anyway. That was too close.
I'm afraid that the Coffin Queen has been dethroned. And with that, court is adjourned.
Uh-oh. Mr. Edgeworth, you ordered the squid wheels, right?
That's the one she tried to foist off on me.
I prefer to not take the defence team's leftovers. Anything else to say? I might be able to save you. I have decisive evidence.
What was that? Is this another one of her trick lunch boxes? My apologies, but we have no further questions to ask of you, Miss Starr.
Ah. Is this your jumbo lunchbox?
Woohoo! A triple-decker. Out of deference to the witness's determination, I'll allow one more testimony. Let's hear about this decisive evidence.
Like the Lunchland motto says, you won't be disappointed. Okay, guess I'm going to do this one then.
What's she going to pull out of her lunchbox this time?
I'm sure this will be short. I should have mentioned those 5 minutes when I wasn't looking at the crime scene. And now, to the matter of the victim's shoe. Did I not bring this up? 2 types of blood were found on this shoe. One was of course the victim's, and the other blood type matched those of the defendant, Miss Lena Skye. The shoe proves it. It's flawless, decisive evidence. Well, if the shoe fits.
What? There's blood found on the shoe?
Try Lunchland for all your lunch and decisive evidence needs. Is chat working okay now, by the way? Witness, what's the meaning of this? Why is this the first time I've heard this evidence? Simple. As I've already said, I don't trust you with the evidence, Mr. Edgeworth. That's why I took the liberty of investigating this myself.
And?
And you had blood tests performed? Didn't I mention? I had 3 boyfriends in forensics. In any case, Your Honour, I can't accept this as evidence. What? You must know the 2 rules of evidence law. Rule 1. No evidence shall be shown without the approval of the police department. In other words, this shoe is illegal evidence, at least for the time being. Is that right, Mr. Wright?
It seems so. Edgeworth sure is celebrating.
Not so fast, Mr. Edgeworth. Don't forget, I used to be a detective, as I mentioned previously. This shoe has already been tested by a member of the forensics department. As you can see, it was approved by the police department as of today. Even the general public can produce official evidence, Mr. Edgeworth.
Ugh.
Is that right, Mr. Wright?
It seems so. Edgeworth is looking pretty sullen.
You could at least study some evidence law, really.
The prosecution's complaints notwithstanding, it appears this evidence satisfies the first rule of evidence law. However, it seems you have yet another count against you, witness.
Anything to ensure that the guilty are properly judged. Victim's shoe added to the court record. White enamel shoe. Bears traces of blood from Goodman and Lena Skye.
Very well, Mr. Wright. You may cross-examine the witness.
Okay, I'll finish up this then.
Why'd you lie about those 5 minutes?
I guess you could say I just wanted people to look at the results.
The results?
How many times do I have to say this? I saw the chief prosecutor stab the victim before my very own eyes. Compared to that, a 5-minute blank means nothing.
Then why didn't you just tell the...
Then why didn't you just tell the truth? Don't make me laugh. We're dealing with the most untrustworthy of the vile lot known as prosecutors. Falsified evidence, arranged testimonies, erasing and manipulating evidence. When you fight monsters, you need to use every trick in the book.
This is when the suspect is admitting she did it. But false testimony is the most despicable crime of all, Miss Starr. Let's just get this over with. And you found the shoe at the scene of the crime.
I detained the chief prosecutor and notified the police department. I wanted to make myself useful while I was waiting for the police to arrive.
So, like an ill-trained pooch, you snuck off with the shoe.
I was afraid someone would erase the chief prosecutor's crime. This shoe is my secret weapon if that should happen. See this fashionable basket I have? It carries more than lunchboxes, gentlemen.
I'm happy for you and your lunchbox bag, really. In any case, you removed the valuable evidence from the scene of the crime. Now tell us what you did next. So you brought it to the forensics department.
If you're going to submit evidence, you need proof. And to do that, evidence must be analysed by a forensics expert.
And she got away with her little coup because she used to be a detective. The shoe does appear to have bloodstains on it.
Well, the man was stabbed after all.
And that blood belonged to the victim, Detective Goodman.
As I said, there were 2 types of blood found on the shoe.
You can't say for sure the blood belonged to the defendant with a blood test.
You claim to know something about blood tests, rookie?
Huh?
Well, speak up.
Well... Blood comes in 4 types. A, B, O, and AB. However... You can't tell a blood test from whether a murder was committed in cold blood.
Oh yeah, in Japan they don't really bother with the rhesus positive / rhesus negative element.
That's just a figure of speech, Mr. Wright.
Actually, we can differentiate between millions of blood types with all the blood tests out there, which means that we can now more or less narrow down any sample of blood down to just one person. Also, I hear.
That's pretty specific.
If I had a little more time, I would have gotten DNA test results. But they said there's very little doubt it could be anyone but Miss Lana Skies.
So the suspect's blood was found on the victim's shoe.
That drives her directly to the death of Detective Goodman.
I was afraid he was going to say that. I can't let this evidence go through without a fight.
You ordered peppered fish guts, right? Some like it hot, Mr. Wright. Some like your client. She's enough hot water to make a whole vat of soup. Mr. Wright, you have a problem with this shoe?
Problem? This is critical. Is there a problem with the victim's shoe? If I'm not imagining things, I'd say there is one critical problem with this evidence. A clear contradiction.
That gleam in your eyes. You're still young, rookie. I'd give you a peppered fish gut now. But you couldn't take the heat, could you?
Let's hear what Mr. Wright has to say. What is contradictory about the victim's shoe? Show us the problem with this evidence.
Okay, what's the problem with the shoe? Problem with the shoe.
Take that!
I wonder if you've noticed. There's blood on the bottom of this shoe.
Don't mess with me, rookie. Or it'll be your blood on the bottom of my shoe. Okay, that's hot.
Indeed. There's quite a bit of blood on the bottom of the shoe.
It makes sense. The victim was stabbed with a knife. What could possibly be contradictory about blood on the bottom of his shoe? Okay, what's the contradiction here?
Take that!
Oops.
The problem lies in the footprints.
Okay, I managed to accidentally guess the right answer. The footprint?
Note that the bottom of the victim's shoe is covered in blood. Then, isn't it strange? Why weren't any bloody footprints found by the scene of crime? Aha! As you can see, there were no traces of any such footprints at the scene of the crime. That contradicts your claim about this shoe.
This picture only shows part of the floor, so there could have been bloody footprints.
Objection!
Then where are they, Mr. Edgeworth? Because we checked the scene and found nothing of the sort. Order? 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 Well, witness?
What? Huh? Great going, Mr. Wright, but it's true that the lack of a footprint is a contradiction. But then we have to ask why there wasn't a footprint.
Oh. That's true. There has to be a reason why there wasn't a footprint.
Think, Mr. Wright, think.
Hey, I don't know why it's not there. Not there. I'm just good at finding contradictions.
What? I see. Now I get it.
Get what?
Our witness is more devious than I gave her credit for. We were hoodwinked to the very end. But she slipped. There is one vital hint to the truth in her testimony.
What are you talking about?
Think back to when she told us about apprehending the suspect. The chief prosecutor tried to resist, but her efforts were in vain. She knocked my hand aside, kicked over an oil drum. Oh, she's beautiful but deadly. A predator, this one. A leopard woman. Rah. I thought that was a strange thing for a normally cool-headed chief to do.
No kidding.
Now, witness, allow me to ask a very simple question. This oil drum, was it empty? Oh, that. I'm not sure I like your attitude, Mr. Edgeworth, though apparently you're not the slowest conveyor belt in the lunchbox factory.
Witness? Well, what was the oil drum? Was the oil drum empty?
The oil drum kicked over by the chief prosecutor was brimming with water.
Water? What does that mean?
Still don't get it, Mr. Wright? Do you want to know the reason she knocked it over? The real reason?
Aha! You don't mean...
Yes, the suspect knocked over the oil drum for one reason, and one reason alone. To erase the bloodstains that would become evidence against her.
What?
Was an awfully specific thing to do.
That ties things up nicely. The bloodstains left on the victim's shoes tie her quite clearly to this murder. Then, after the deed was done, she knocked over the oil drum to erase the telltale signs.
Why, that's the prosecutor's specialty. Erasing evidence.
That reminds me, Miss Guy's right hand was hurt. Didn't she say she cut herself when she stabbed him?
So that's where my sister's blood got on the shoe.
Well, I see no reason to prolong this trial.
Mr. Wright, do something, please.
What? What can I do? Your sister has confessed to the crime and she tried to conceal it.
But... Enough. There is no need for further debate. The verdict, Your Honour. Oops. Might as well.
Very well.
But Angel Star is on the prosecution's side. She could have been lying about the water.
This court finds defendant Miss Lena Sky.
Where? Little girl, what did you just say?
Huh? Me?
Did you just say that I, Angel Star, was on the prosecution's side? Well, yes, you are. You're saying my sister hid evidence by erasing the bloody footprints. Well, I thought you had your fill, but you're demanding a second helping. Another lunchbox. A lunchbox called evidence.
Wait, witness, don't help you have something else.
Objection!
The time for deliberations is past. Any further comments and you'll be held in contempt of court. Your threats don't scare the cough up, Queen. Look at this.
A photograph?
I had it just in case anyone had the gall to suggest that the white shoe didn't belong to the victim.
I see no room for error in this evidence.
Mr. Wright, wait. Look at the asphalt in this... Wait, Mr. Wright. What? Right. Wait, look at the asphalt in this photo.
Hey, it's clearly wet. Erasing the last trace of doubt from the court's mind. Immediately after the murder, the crime scene was washed with water.
I'm sorry, Mr. Wright. I guess I couldn't help after all.
It's not your fault. I knew I couldn't win this case from the beginning. And it seems this is what your sister wanted anyway. I'm sorry, Mia.
Right. Wet or not, don't be so quick to throw in the towel. Get yourself up off the asphalt. Take another good look. Don't give up. Not until the bitter end.
This is the last piece of evidence. Very well, this time I'd like to declare a verdict for good.
Objection!
Your Honor, wait. What is with you people? Why can't I hand down my verdicts in peace anymore? Whatever it is, can it wait? No, it can't. Then it'll be too late. Look at this photograph, the last one submitted. This trial isn't over until we give each piece of evidence proper consideration.
So, right. Are you saying there's a problem with this latest piece of evidence?
Yeah, I'll think later. Yeah, there's a problem. Right or wrong, I've got to go ahead with this. I suppose, since we've come this far, we should give every claim a fair shake. Very well, Mr. Wright. Show the court the problem in this photograph.
Okay.
The problem in this photograph is here. What's this? There's something poking out of the car's muffler. Wait, just a moment, Mr. Edgeworth. Your Honour? You just said muffler. However, I see no trace of a muffler or scarf of any kind in this photograph. A muffler is also part of a car or motorcycle, Your Honour. Just think of it as part of the exhaust system, a pipe. I see, and I see. What's that suspicious-looking cloth sticking out of the car's muffler?
So what if there's something sticking out of the muffler? What does that have to do with this case? Nothing. Absolutely nothing.
Objection!
Sorry, Miss Starr. It's not going to be that easy. In fact, you've already told us why this is important to the case. You said as much in your testimony.
What?
Let's hear what Mr. Wright has in his mind. Tell us why you think this piece of cloth in the muffler is related to this case.
The word muffler was overheard during a call.
Take that!
Miss Starr, recall your testimony for the court.
Yeah, yes. I mean, yeah, it's amazing how she goes sweet to deadly with just the eye change. The animation in this is simultaneously not very subtle at all, but very, very subtle. Crazy.
Recall your testimony for the court.
Ah yes, when I arrested her, she mentioned the muffler. That's what had me confused in my earlier testimony.
Muffler. Could it be that the muffler you heard mentioned was actually this exhaust pipe? If so, that means this piece of cloth is vital evidence.
Oh, what? KO.
Well, it seems that we will have to suspend the proceedings.
Suspend?
I find myself wondering about that piece of cloth. If we leave any unanswered question here, we do a disservice to the law. Have the car at the crime scene inspected at once, and bring me that cloth. The verdict will wait until after we've seen all the evidence. Agreed?
I suppose so.
That was close. But we made it, at least for now. The court will adjourn for a 30-minute recess. It's lunchtime after all. He's still hung.
Okay, that's Phoenix talking, but that's clearly the judge's label. Naughty, naughty, QA. To be continued. I guess that's when we'll call the stream then. Whew. That went on a lot longer than I was planning to, but yeah, thanks everyone for coming to the stream. Oh, thanks, Roy, I did. I mean, it's not been a great day, but yeah, I'm glad I have this to do. Anyway, I'll just get Firefox to load and I'll find someone to raid. Alright, as I've said before, I'm hopefully going in for surgery next week. But I should still be streaming on Monday. After that, my schedule is going to get a bit more haphazard. Oh, thanks, Roy. well, not really haphazard, but I'll be in hospital for at least the next couple of... Well, I'm recovering for at least the next couple of weeks. Thanks, Roy. I don't know entirely when I'll have recovered enough to start streaming again, although I've been told that basically I'll probably be quite exhausted in the exhausted, but I can sort of, if I get some sleep in the mornings, I should be okay. And obviously I'm going to be off work, so it's not like that's going to be a consideration. Okay, Twitch is loading. I'll sort of tweet about that later with some more details. Okay, who's online? Okay, no one I really know is on streaming, so does anyone have any suggestions for streams? Okay. No suggestions, none at all? Okay, in that case, I guess I won't raid anyone. Thanks everyone for coming. Sorry I've not been in the best condition today. Yep, well, yeah, more Night in the Woods on Monday, and then I'll be on hiatus. Have a lovely weekend.